How you feeling?
I feel really good.
I can see it.
I've never been happier.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First Week Feast, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. And today we're joined by Jenna Ortega. She's a Golden Globe-nominated actor you know from acclaimed films like X and The Fallout, as well as the massive global Netflix hit Wednesday. She also stars in Scream 6, the latest chapter in the iconic slasher franchise, which is set to release in theaters on March 10th. Jenna Ortega, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I know that you're a big fan of hot sauce. How confident are you going into today's interview?
I'm feeling pretty confident, honestly. I haven't been nervous at all. It's only been within the last 30 minutes that my friends that are with me today have kind of been amping me up, and I've realized, oh, this might be a situation that I'm not prepared for. But typically, I can handle my stuff, so I'm curious. Yeah, I am. All right. Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Little baby. Baby wing. I do have to tell you too, the gift for my father's Christmas gift was the hot sauces.
Oh.
I pledged not to do any of them because I thought if I ever go on the show, I cannot do it or whatever. But I feel like I come from a strong family.
Mm-hmm.
They've got strong taste buds. I think we'll be good.
So you returned for your role as Tara Carpenter in Scream 6, a franchise I've really come to appreciate for its meta commentary on the genre, where each film becomes like its own love letter to classic horror movies of the past. What are the hallmarks of a good chase scene for you? Like, when they work on film, what makes them work?
Ooh, for a good chase scene, it's really difficult. I feel like you have to have you gotta have a good course. You know, like the amount of rooms that you run through. I think a good handheld shot is also really necessary for a good chase scene because it makes it feel a lot more chaotic and a bit more first-person view. I feel like it's a bit more intense for the audience. But at least a couple of injuries, a couple of stabs here and there. And I also think a really powerful shot, and one of my favorite things to see in horror films is when you can see your heroine, your main character, and then you could see the other villain kind of in the background. I feel like anything where it's like either they're not aware that they're there or you get to see the reaction and the mayhem going on behind them, I think that's always a strong choice. All right. It's too easy.
There we go.
I don't want to get too confident, but at the same time.
You gotta gas yourself up as you go,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I feel like around 6 is when people start getting weird.
Right. So you just enjoy this time while you got it,
Yeah.
you know? So you've gushed about your experience working with the master of Gothic fantasy and Tim Burton. How did you see his obsession with aesthetic come through in the way that he directs?
First of all, he draws a lot of his shots. So there were some days where I'd come into work and he would have his own little picture that he drew of me playing the cello or me fencing and say, "This is what you're shooting." You would go, "Got it." Or even on the first day when they were trying to establish what my hair was gonna look like, we ran 2 hours behind because no, her braids are uneven. This one's lower, this one's higher. He didn't like the way that my fringe looked at the time, so he was just, "Hey, do you mind if I do that?" He asked the hairdresser very politely and just kind of did my hair himself. It would be like 4 a.m. in some random Romanian forest, and oh, where's Tim? And he's carrying 2 trees, throwing them in the background of the shot so that they land exactly where he wanted them to. He was very specific and like happy to do it himself, but also a really great communicator and collaborator.
Did you come out of the other side of the deep dive into his catalog with a favorite Tim Burton production?
I mean, I feel like Beetlejuice is a staple, so I've always appreciated Beetlejuice, but I also, when I was younger, I wanted to be one of the aliens from Mars Attacks so bad, but not the Lisa Marie one, the one with the exposed brain. He's got Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close in there, like it's an incredible movie. I feel like people don't give it the credit it deserves.
Wildly underrated movie.
Yes.
Movie. All right, so far 2 wings down. Are you ready to move on here to sauce number 3?
100%.
Donas Cadejo here.
All right.
3 spot.
Smooth sailing. That one has more flavor though. Is this psychological as well? Are you gonna like feed stuff in my head so that it...
You know what? I do a lot of armchair psychology from this side of the table. Yeah. We're a lot of like, it's gonna be okay. I do a lot of like, I'm a little bit of like psychologist and like a little bit of a motivational speaker. I feel that's my role from over here, I think.
Good to know.
And then I understand that your Scream co-star, David Arquette, is actually a certified Bob Ross painting instructor and will sometimes give lessons on set. Did you ever have the pleasure of taking one of those art classes?
I think I was actually working when people took that class, which is one of my greatest, I think I don't, there's very few times where I felt completely defeated, and that is one of them. He is like a little angel of a person. I can't believe he's real, but yeah, he gave the entire cast Bob Ross lessons. So we would walk into our collective green room and there would just be beautiful paintings everywhere. But he also had a red tricycle that he gave us all the code to, so that if we wanted to get our groceries, let's just take Dave's tricycle. He was always hanging out, always like trying to update himself on K-pop, because we had a band member who really loved K-pop. He's an unbelievable man.
Every set needs a David Arquette, you know?
Agreed. It would make things so much better. Like, there would be no world peace. 100%. All right. That one's actually good.
You like that one?
That's an enjoyable sauce. Oh, you guys made that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we'll take that. We'll take that, Jenna, all day long.
Not trying to blow smoke here.
So I've had some interesting conversations with actors in the past, from Tom Holland to Colin Farrell, about the challenges of working from behind a mask. What new tools did you have to develop in playing a character like Wednesday, whose whole vibe is to be emotionless?
When you're gonna be the lead of a story, you have to have some sort of emotional arc, some sort of emotional payoff, and Wednesday doesn't actually have that. And I think that fighting the nostalgia that everybody feels for the 60s Wednesday and 90s Wednesday, while also, feeding into that, but also giving a new take and making it your own to a new generation so that they're introduced to the character, was like a real balancing act. So I found that, as long as I studied the old material and took traits and aspects that I knew I could easily weave into my own iteration, it felt like a good, happy medium.
All right, Jenna, you are doing great. This next sauce, halfway mark already, by the way.
Very nice.
This is Brooklyn Deli with the ghost pepper sauce.
I'm really trying to take it in.
So I think it's the
I
first
see where
kind
we're
of
going.
jump.
I see where we're going. Interesting.
It has some redeeming culinary qualities, but as you say that, I'm even seeing I'm starting to tear up a little bit,
Should I follow you as well? Would be like emotional support.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna lean a little bit on you this interview, okay, Jenna? We can't all.
That's what I'm here for.
There we go. I can tell I'm in good hands. I can tell I'm in good hands. So in a New York Times interview last year, you talked about not being able to care for a houseplant, but spoke very reverently about protecting your 1897 edition of Ralph Waldo Emerson essays. What for you is the magic in collecting books?
I don't write a lot of screenplays, but I do like to write a lot of essays. I am a bit of an insomniac. I can't really sleep, so I just stay up all night and I write random things that, I take a certain thought or idea and I just kind of elaborate it on my own. And someone like Emerson, a lot of his work is essays. So I feel like the more that I read and kind of see the tangents that he goes on or the little debates that he has with himself kind of encourage me to do that. But books are incredible. I wish that people would read them more. I don't want to read them on an iPad. We need real substance. Like, go outside and read a book.
Is there a Gen Z trope or stereotype about teenagers that you see in scripts or on TV that gets under your skin?
I think for me, because I look a bit younger, I've been acting for a little over a decade now, so I've just been a teenager pretty much in stories, and I feel like it's always the bratty teen, bad-mouthed teen, or a lot of times unintelligent, which I don't think is true, and I think it's hard to nowadays with all this new lingo coming around, but I feel like my generation, because there is so much accessible to them on the internet, there's just more opportunities for them to learn. I wish that they were given a bit more credit. We can be smart sometimes. I'm so excited. All right. It actually tastes like mushrooms.
Yeah, it's got some portobello action in there.
Whoa. Good for them.
So I was fascinated to read that Thing wasn't CGI'd, but rather played by Romanian magician Victor Dorobantu.
Yeah.
What was the most creative or memorable way that you saw him tap into the creative depth of that character using only his hand?
Oh, it actually was that Thing operating room scene where they weren't on him, but they were shooting my coverage, and it's the first and only time Wednesday cries. And I went to reach my hand out to him, and he pet my hand. He was comforting me, and I actually started crying. I restarted the line because it actually made me sad, and we just laughed, and that was a real bonding moment for Victor and I. But kudos to him, because they had him in all kinds of crazy positions.
Yeah, he's in a whole chroma key suit that they edit out later. So that's what you think. You think the hand's just there, but he's physically there acting with you that whole time.
There's a blue man in the entire show, and they took him out. But I remember they would build all these set pieces for him. So they did a wild desk. So he was sitting crunched in a desk, or they built holes in the floor. But yeah, that was a real task, I would say, and he killed it. Yeah, I'm feeling all right. All right. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good flavor.
So you called the horror genre your second home, and then once joked, I don't know what it is about my face, but people always want to throw blood on it. When did you know that you like to scare people?
Well, I know when I was younger, when people would jump out behind walls or something like that. I'm salivating a little.
Yeah.
When people would jump out from behind walls or something like that, I never moved, I never flinched, and people would tell me that I had no soul. So I felt like trying to get them back was kind of the start of it all.
Mm-hmm.
I would say from a very early age.
What makes the 80s slasher Prom Night to you a gold standard of the genre?
Oh my God, it's got all the classic teenage tropes. It's got incredible gore. I feel like there's just so many staples that it's inspired so many horror films to come since then.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the proper way to do a slasher. If you ever needed some sort of guiding light, I think Prom Night is a really, really great one.
And then, can you explain the process of what goes into putting together prosthetics like this?
Yeah, you go and you get green slime put all over your body. So you sit in a room for about 30 minutes and they create a cast, this rubber cast. And then they send it to some lab. They make a mold of your face, and then they just make a bunch of skin grafts, these fake skin grafts. Something like that takes about 4 hours to put on. And they might add some glycerin or water, and then you're pretty much good to go. But that will not move. You're good. As long as you don't do something crazy, you're all right.
All right, Jenna, it is that time. This is the bomb beyond insanity.
I'll take a healthy bite as well, because I need the actual experience. It's a bit aggressive. I think I may have been right to be scared.
But look at you just smiling right in the face of it, you know?
Can you see my white knuckles?
There you go. I can see it. And I might start hiccuping. I can already kind of feel it.
Okay.
Just giving you fair warning. What's the secret to a perfect guacamole, in your opinion?
whole lot of lime. You need so much lime in there. And jalapenos. Just choose good avocados. But lime.
Yeah.
Lime is the answer. I hate it when they throw pico de gallo just on top, like very casually, just a couple of tomatoes. It doesn't do anything for me. Either fully submerge it, really mix it in there. Do it the right way. If I don't see any cilantro in there, disappointing instantly. And yeah, if the avocados are too white, because then you know that it's gonna be hard and they're just not ready. Don't rush them.
And then in 2015, the New York Times published a controversial guacamole recipe where they called for a ratio of 2/3 cup fresh green peas to every 3 avocados.
Fuck that. It's like, that's not even controversial. That's obviously incorrect.
You know, if ever I had an episode to lean on somebody, I'm happy it's this episode because I'm going through it.
I'm so sorry. If there's anything you need from me,
Yeah.
yes. It's settling.
Yeah. And just in time to move on to the next wing. This number 9 wing is taco vibes only. I have the strength if you have the strength.
I have this strength.
This is me leaning, Jenna. All right.
All right. Yeah. I'm okay. I still really feel just really vulnerable from the bomb.
Yeah. Never leaves you, you know. You're forever changed after something like that.
I think so.
Can you give us one highlight and one lowlight from your most recent Paris Fashion Week?
Ooh. I used to be a really big fan of Steve Lacy when I was younger and still am. And he was there. I got to meet Gaspar Noé, who is like an incredible filmmaker and I've really admired for a really long time. I feel like I was just around like a really influential group of people. And I felt very lucky. A low light? Oh, I think I've never been up on the Eiffel Tower and I tried to do that and then they told me no.
You got rejected at the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, and I walked up the stairs, I did the whole thing, and then I was like, okay, let me get to the next level. And then they ushered us to like the elevator going down and we're like, just leave. Maybe it just wasn't a good day. I don't know what they went through.
All right, Jenna Ortega.
All right. Beautiful bottle. Oh, I should shake it too, right? I feel ready. Oh, what's a good enough?
That's a good enough.
Good enough.
That's very good enough.
Cool.
Cheers,
Was
Jenna.
that-
What a run.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's delicious. That's actually like really good.
Jenna,
I've got the craziest thing on right now.
right back at you. Right back at you. And look at us taking on the Hot Ones gauntlet, living to tell the tale. Just one more challenge for you. And don't worry, I'm not going to bring out any more wings. But I was fascinated to learn that one of the ways that you unlocked the Wednesday character was when you did a take without blinking. And then Tim Burton liked it so much, he said, hey, let's do every take without blinking. So to close things out, what I want to do is a Stanley Kubrick style stare down, staring contest, you versus me, to see who buckles first against this mounting pressure of the hot sauce and these bright studio lights. Are you ready?
Okay, wait. I'm gonna really stress myself out.
All right, then I'm gonna
Then
follow
I feel
you
like
right
that's
along
better.
with it.
That makes it harder.
There we go.
All right.
Degree of difficulty, getting cranked.
I don't know if I should have done that. Okay.
All right, you started, okay?
I'm gonna keep chilling. Already crying.
There you go. I never stood a chance.
I'm so glad you didn't make that awkward at the end, because that could have been like a weird way to close it. I thought it was gonna go on for too long. I was like,
you know what? I was running out of gas, but I was really determined. You know, I could see I was reaching the point right there, but I never stood a chance. I never stood a chance, Jenna
got a tear
Ortega.
going down my face.
And look at you, taking on the wings of death, living to tell the tale, and now there's nothing left to do but roll out the red carpet for you. This camera, this camera, or this camera, let the people know what you have going on in your life.
Next up, sixth installment of the Scream franchise is coming out March 10th, I believe. And if you want to go check that out in theaters, you could do that. And then also, yeah, Wednesday is now streaming on Netflix. So if you want, if you don't want, that's up to you. Oh, that makes me so happy. Like, what a great environment. So awesome. That was so cool. That was the coolest thing. I had a really good time.
Hot Ones fans, breaking news, the 3-in-1 Boneless Bites Challenge is back. For a limited time, you can put your taste buds to the test against some of our most iconic flavors. The classic, Los Calientes, and the peak of heat, Apollo. But don't fret, Hot Ones fans, even when the 3-in-1 challenge leaves the freezer aisle, you can still pick up your favorite flavor of Hot Ones Boneless Bites. Visit HotOnesChallenge.com for more information on products and to find a store near you, because it's time to bring the heat home.